in this one, a bit limited on the like instant initiation for the Storm Spirit. Like you have silence, yes, you have stun coming out from Slaughter and Dark Willow, but I would prefer if they had like one hero that, you know, just Storm Spirit is always threatened to play into until Slaughter gets a Blink Dagger. Then it's going to be much easier. Different kind of a strat coming out from Viking. I think they are very limited in terms of AoE. They needed a hero that protects the egg, so that's going to be Tidehunter, and it's going to give them some more team fight. The other 4 heroes, it's pretty much everything single target, except Phoenix, a bit of Sunray, a bit of Fire Spirits, but still, they're going to go for a single target. We have position 5 Weaver being played by Twilight Die. I've seen like Puppy playing Weaver, even after the nerfs to the Aghanim Scepter. Like, he makes it work because he's a greedy player. He tends to get a lot of farm, and Twilight Die might say, like, screw it, I just need to go all in, try to get as much farm as I can. It's a very good item in here with the Troll Warlord petted up. Like, Troll's not gonna die. There's no real burst damage. Like, Troll doesn't need to care about getting bursted from 100 to 0.
That's right. I guess we'll see what happens. You know, in game 1, Misery did get that early Blink Dagger and then kind of gave the farm priority over to that pos 5, as we do see Misery chasing down Celery, and Enchantress spronking along back towards not her base on the dire side of the river. Where are you going, Enchantress? So now you're going to have Lifestealer in a 1v1 against Slardar, which is not what the Lifestealer wants. You need that Enchantress there to really set up the lane for him and give him a good, easy time. And Misery has Brambles, so Celery can't even TP. Try and TP.
What Celery can do is just outrun him. So Misery TPing back to the bottom lane, wants to steal some experience from Slaughter. It's a good that Slaughter is having...
But does Ench snipe Courier mid? Ench is behind the tower. Celery's there with a Courier snipe. Salve down.
Okay, it's only a minute, and Jesse still has some extra regen. We'll have another Spirit Siphon shortly, 2 shared Tangos, and a Fairy Fire, so they're not gonna get too much value out of that kill.
Still making something out of nothing. And now Enchantress can come back down here. Give a little bit of assistance to Shad. Immediately trapped up in the Brambles, though, as top lane.
Yeah, top lane
Toby
is gonna be very hard for Toby. He's a melee hero that plays into 2 range hero, and Weaver position 5 is a strong laner, especially once they hit level 2. There's gonna be a ton of damage. I just want to see what kind of a build Weaver's gonna go for, Geminator attack or the Swarm. If you go for the Swarm, it costs more mana, but this is a more of a harassment build, and it's something that the Tidehunter can't dispel. Bugs against the Kraken Shell.
So the bugs are going to stay on him, allowing Ace and Pylodie to keep chasing down. And yeah, Tidehunter always wants to be in the creep wave, getting off anchor smashes. So your point about the double ranged heroes, definitely a problem for him. As first kill, I'm going to go to Boom. DP playing very close to the line.
Well, definitely did not expect this to happen. I was just watching the top lane. We see that from time to time, like Storm Spirits getting very aggressive once they get to level 3 with the 1-1-1 builds. So your Overlord is going to proc multiple times, and you still have a pull.
Solo kill puts him over level 4. He's about a level ahead of Chessie now. As Misery gets a bit of revenge and takes down Celery's Courier. Enchantress is going to pop the heal. It feels like this game already on a knife's edge. Everyone really eking out these opportunities. In bottom lane, the camp is blocked. A sentry there from the Enchantress doesn't quite catch the dire one in the top right-hand corner of the camp. Shadow Realm. Good punch. Fairy Fire there for Celery. Misery is very low here and has a creep chasing him. But this is all going to plan for 5 men, because you take a look at Slardar, his bashing, his crushing, and he really is putting the damage in onto Shad.
In this type of lane, like, you want Slardar to get some solo XP so that he has multiple points in bash. Ace, they get a kill on Toby on the top lane. I missed that one. Thank God I'm not the one who's controlling the camera.
Level 2 Shikuchi there. Not even going to go for Swarm in these early levels. Just wants to cool down on Shikuchi. And might go for Aramis here. Phoenix in a lot of trouble. Pyle is going for a bonus kill. Oh, the final right click doesn't fly. And Phoenix just barely survives.
Yeah. Tide is bringing some extra region. Like, this top lane is slowly falling apart from Viking.
And we still have this 1v1 between Misery and Celery. Just following each other around.
Misery picked up the haste rune, but it got dispelled by Celery. I don't think he's getting a kill here. Slardar just having a good time on the bottom lanes. I mean, same goes for Lifestealer. He's still farming decently.
Well, they're trying on Ace top. Under his tier 1, he's got a bit of regen going. Toby with the anchor smash and the dive forward, but Aramis being focused by Pyle Die. Shikuchi's back up, but he doesn't have the mana for it. 5 away, and the Gush will secure the kill on the troll, as it looked like Ace just wanted to die. He spent all his money, and he can return to the lane full HP, full mana again.
Yeah, it's much better if he dies there. There's some XP and the gold. It's only 200 gold for Toby's Tidehunter, but he goes back to the lane. Full mana, full HP. Not that big of a deal.
That's where he wants to be. As Boom has decided he wants to be in the jungle. Waiting for that bounty rune to pop, refill his bottle. And he can clear out that camp. So a bit of space for Chessie to recover a little bit after that 1v1 death. And top lane again. Aggression onto Ace. Anchor Smash seems to be causing them problems, as well as these level 2 fiery spirits from Aramis's Phoenix.
They need to bring some extra region to the top lane. They're running very low. Phoenix constant harassment. Some extra tangos or just a ring of region. It's kind of a bit late for the ring of region on Ace's troll. Let's see what kind of a build he tends to go for in this game. He really loves to build Battle Fury on troll.
Yeah, especially without the Magnus. He wants that farm acceleration. We'll see if it's the same as down bottom. Zibe, again, just in on top of these two heroes. He's 1v2ing and very close to getting 2 kills just all on his own. A couple more hits here. Celery's in trouble. Zibe doesn't have enough left in the tank. And looking towards mid lane. You know, while that's all happening, mid lane, they've got a Catapult Wave and Exorcism, both supports. Here from 5 men gathering around and looking for the TP rotations, which is going to be the Storm and Phoenix arriving on the Dark Willow. The Brambles are down, but the Shadow Realm will only buy a little bit of time as DP comes cruising forward aggressively. Storm Spirit, desperate for kills, will finally find one. And also keeps that tower alive, but Storm's pretty low on mana, has to dodge the final Crypt Swarm. Very nicely done by Boom. Almost a guaranteed death there.
Raindrop was available, so I don't think he dies, but good rotation from 5 men. They don't necessarily need to kill the tower, but just don't get it in deny range. This is a very tricky one. It's time to bail now. Like, just let it be.
Oh, 2 HP. No. It's just in deny range.
This is such a good line from Dark Willow.
Just no.
Slardar is level 6 with that Corrosive Haze. It's going to be very hard for heroes to show on the bottom lane. Thank God it's Lifestealer for Viking where he can just dispel it. But if anyone else shows, could be a certain death. Top lane, Toby, dropping very low.
And they're getting dived under his tier 1. The Shikuchi from Pyle Die not giving him the confidence he needs to go diving that far. But back to your Lifestealer point, I guess he's got to be careful towing that line between using Rage to get rid of Corrosive Haze, but then being worried about the Crush, the Cursed Crown, the Brambles, and all that good stuff from Misery. Like, do you want to take physical damage like this, where you're just getting punched 1v1? Or do you want to get rid of it because you're dying? Slowly but surely, you're getting tickled down by that slimy fish boy. And even though it feels like, mid lane, top lane, both went pretty well for Viking, 5 men are still keeping themselves in a slight net worth lead. All 3 of their cores farming effectively. Is that mid-tier 1 still being pressured? Still in deny range. But they want it as a platform to TP2 and react. If 5 men do get a little over-eager.
Yeah, I mean, you do not want to deny your 150 HP tower on a mid lane 8 minutes in.
Feels pretty bad. And Slardar now, Enchantress returns. not having as good a time against the lifestealer as he was a second ago. As they zip in onto Pylite Die, the tower dies mid. Boom running low on mana. Jesse just chasing forward with a Spirit Siphon. I don't know if he can kill off Boom here. Again, you mentioned the raindrops, also with double null wand, pretty tanky, plenty of stats. And Pylite Die decides to get the hell away from mid as they've taken the objective, get back to defending top, and allow Troll to get back into jungle as bottom lane. Celery, found by Misery and Zibe.
Slaughter is such a tanky boy. I mean, look at his armor with Raid Band, Treads, on agility, 12 armor. Not too bad, especially against the Lifestealer. Misery will need to get the Tome for himself. Like, he's been leaving solo experience to Slaughter, so like, you want to have that terrorize level 6 if things are not going well.
Yeah, Misery's been chasing Enchantress all game, so hasn't seen a lick of experience, really. Do you think Ace is comfortable just farming jungle? You know, 10 minutes in or so, quite often we see that position 1 shift to the enemy safe lane to get on top of the tier 1 tower.
They have
Is that
a great
something Ace wants to?
position 5 hero that can just take the XP and not die on the top lane. Usually we see like Winter Wyvern just standing in the trees, using his Splinter Blast to get the farm, but Weaver at your position 5 can, you know, play more aggressively, get more farm from the lane, so this is pretty good stuff.
Yeah, they gather up a bunch of bounty runes there as Storm, his first real rotation, gets a kill on the Dark Willow. And what else? Boom got one, Toby, Aramis, as Ace got the 4th one. And the only one for the Dire team. No Battle Fury queued. Yasha for now. We'll see if he goes for the magical Yasha Basher, which I'm a big fan of.
In this types of situation, I would prefer if he just gets like a fighting build instead of going for Battle Fury. Because you want to come online as fast as you can. Look at the heroes. So much minus armor from Weaver, from Slaughter. It opens up the Roche. Slaughter queuing up a Blink Dagger for himself. So, like, you need to synchronize with the items.
I've just noticed, speaking about offlaners, Toby here doesn't level up Ravage. He's holding a point still.
Yeah, he just got it.
As I'm saying it, he's like, nah, I'm going to level up Ravage now. But it feels like there's a fight brewing bottom. Shad, Curse Crown on him. Opting not to rage, which allows Zibe to get in here with a silence forward. They've got the crush to follow through. Beautiful chaining of stuns here, but the DP's gone a little deep. Spirit Siphon's keeping her alive. A Supernova's beautiful, though, as Toby arriving with the Ravage, and 3 heroes caught up in the tentacles means Chessie's fallen. It was 4 heroes in the Ravage. Zibe's trying to make his retreat, but Viking fighting valiantly around their tier 1. Defending against the 5 men who all rotate south. And without Weaver there, they're just missing that final touch of damage to actually finish anyone off.
Yeah, that was a good rotation from Toby. Caught DP on the edge of that Ravage. They defended the tier 1 tower, and the 3rd Dead Prophet ulti, they did not get too much value out of that one. So, pretty decent trade for Viking, where they're getting the items. Toby going for the correct item build, getting a medallion, some extra armor for himself. I don't think he's the target to go for. He's super tanky with 3 points in Kraken Shell.
They're going to keep on trying. At the very least, they'll zone him out of lane to open up this tier 1. Exorcism down for over a minute, though. Toby with no Ravage for a minute and a half. And a lot of this game is dictated by these long cooldowns. And very often we see one team, at the very least, that doesn't rely on the big ultis, but both sides here. Exorcism, Battle Trance, even the Terrorize, super useful for 5 men, and especially for Viking, the Supernova and the Ravage. Those are their teamfight tools that they need, especially if they gather up to try and defend a tower like this tier 1 bottom, because Enchantress just being dived, the Bedlam's there, and Misery. As easy as you like, securing the Enchantress. Now Toby's isolated. Phoenix probably going to have to dive away. They're TPing Storm down here, though. Lacoste, they want to battle. Boom's in. Zipping forward, catching Troll. Battle Trance ready. Terrorize not quite landing perfectly, and Boom's going to walk it off. Does
he didn't dodge
not
the stun.
Have the ball lightning because he was silenced. I was wondering why as well. The DP with that silence.
Well, this is the skill that I talk the most about being the underrated skill in the game. Just having 1 point in silence, they timed it correctly. Like, if he had the 404 build, they're not getting killed on that Storm Spirit.
Yeah, you're damn right. I mean, it's so good against Storm, but also against Lifestealer, right? Stopping the rage in that first fight looked pretty good for 5 men. Misery, yet again, playing this forward role, mainly doing a bit of recon to scout out Aramis and his courier. Very aggressive Dark Willow. And you were talking about the farm distribution between Willow and Weaver especially, and it definitely looks like Pieliedie is getting the better end of that stick.
Yeah, I mentioned after the game started that usually he's not the guy that tends to get a lot of farm, but in this type of game and the hero that he's playing, they should definitely give him the farm priority over Dark Willow.
That's exactly what they're doing. Lifestealer with Armlet going into Assault Cuirass. Shad will not really want to stay bottom for much longer. No real objectives for him to gain here. And there's much safer farm out on the map back towards his triangle. The tier 1 top is a nice objective to go and gather yourselves towards as well. But it feels like the perfect kind of start for 5 men in terms of the map opening up for them. You know, they got the tier 1 both mid and bottom lane, so this jungle all opens up for them down south. And they can converge into the Radiant Triangle much easier. It's a smoother ride as Zibe and Pieliedie do just that to secure some bounty runes.
Oh, the rock from Mud Golem actually cancels the TP. It's a pretty big kill for Viking. Storm Spirit.
Storm and Lifestealer.
Completed his Yule Scepter, so he's gonna have a way of dispelling things for himself. Toby has the Ravage. Does not want to pop it yet.
Need to get Aramis a little bit closer. Low HP Phoenix is mid lane though, and Toby will have the backup of the Phoenix coming in with a TP now. Terrorize is good though, catching Lifestealer as well as Enchantress and the Tide. All 3 heroes feared back as the Shadow Realm keeps the Dark Willow safe. Yule's up from the Storm, catching the DP on the way out, looking to retreat, but the reversal. The Uno card.
No you.
The Yule's back, no you, absolutely. And it all comes to nothing. All of that posturing, poking and prodding, beating their fists on their chests, and neither team really wanted to fight.
Even more minus armor. Beaver decided to get Medallion after buying a casual Ogre Axe. There's gonna be some extra mana regen, like she's spending a lot of mana trying to farm the lane and queues up Aghanim Scepter. Like Aghanim Scepter got really nerfed. Like the cast range and the cooldown is now 20 seconds. Before it was 12, I believe.
Yeah, I mean it was ridiculous before. It was absolutely insane. Like pushing high ground when you got Weaver Ags. Just send someone up to tier 3 and then they're back to full HP. No problem. Now in the driver's seat again, Viking with all their ultis up are a massive threat. Especially if they start dipping their heads into the Roche pit and considering to move out across the map as this 5-man unit, which they are all grouped up as mid.
Talking about no you, there is no you item on the Tidehunter, going for the Lotus Orb. Extra armor, good for dispelling a lot of things that 5 men have. I think they're itemizing correctly in this game. Just a casual Medallion on Tide, a casual Cloak for some extra magic resistance. Lifestealer wants to build even more armor for his teammates. So going straight into AC, I'm really loving it. I saw a game yesterday or the 2 days before where Sven had like 19-minute AC because everything the enemy team had was physical damage. Big zip from Storm.
On to Zibe they go. Slardar trying to sprint away. Can he get into the trees to blink? The Yule's up there from Boom with another Remnant. Make sure that he can't escape. Zibe tries the crush, but the Supernova breaks all the trees, and this poor Slardar is hiding, is juking, but the final touch will allow Boom to secure the Slardar kill, while middle lane. Chessie is also found with a Ravage from Toby.
Okay, they're getting kills on both lanes. No Ravage, but Tidehunter will get a lot of farm. Celery moving around the Roche pit. I don't think they still have enough damage to bring it down, but maybe for the next fight. It's also something that 5 men should consider doing right now. It's a level 2 Death Prophet ulti, so spirits go from 8 to 16. They know there's no Supernova, there's no Ravage, and they should try to make a play, either smoke or force a Roche. Yeah, Troll has a BKB. It's time for them to take a fight.
Yeah, they're going to flick that switch and say, we are ready for action. Vikings still considering this Roshan as they sit in and around the pit. They know that Troll's up on the high ground. Saw him with that Centaur, but they won't see the smoke coming. Willow mid, trying to bait as best he can. Pilar dies here as well. They're focusing on that mid lane, shoving out the wave, killing off Centaurs, while the rest of the squad is in the pit with Corrosive Haze.
They don't even pop the DP ulti. Like, they have enough damage and sustain with just these two heroes tanking. Like, Slardar is the tanky boy. 17 armor. So that's gonna be easy Roach for 5 men. Every single time they get to use Ravage or Supernova, I think 5 men should try and punish it. Now they're gonna feel much safer with the BKB on Troll plus Aegis, so they can start playing more aggressively.
We're soon going to be looking at that level 2 Supernova, though, on top of the level 2 Ravage. And all the item timings from Viking are coming together very nicely.
Is that
Storm
full
Spirit?
It actually is a full Aghanim Scepter on Weaver. Is
Oh,
it?
it's done.
No, just a point booster off. I was like, man, he can't be that far.
I was wondering, his courier was dead for a little bit, and I was wondering as well what exactly he had. 900 gold away, though. Pretty soon we'll have that save. And then it comes down to positioning of Pylai Die and how well he can utilize the time lapse on his teammates. So for Viking, Lotus Orb is a couple hundred away from Tide. Courier, it is safe from the Troll for now. Ace, yeah, I don't think you can go 1v1 toe-to-toe against the big boy. And the Leviathan plods on away.
A Leviathan. It's been a while since I heard that name.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Dota. Oh, mid lane. Zibe out in the open again. So far, 5 men have lost their Slardar a couple of times in a row. This means they don't have him for the push top lane, which it looks like everyone else was angling towards.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite Dota t-shirts from one of the TIs, I can't remember. It's Tidehunter in the middle with all the things he eats. You know, with a sea cucumber and a giant squid, everything circling around him.
His voice lines when he levels up are one of the best ones for sure. So once 5 men, once they get 3 BKBs online, and I see every single core getting it, they have no abilities that go through Magic Immunity besides Supernova, and I don't think they care too much about that one. They have heroes to deal with Supernova. You have Troll, you have Weaver with the Geminate attack.
And usually if you're popping BKB, you're going to be right-clicking the egg anyway, as your main priority. 5 men still want to be making that move, though. Aegis for about 2.5 minutes on the Troll. Get some value out of it. Tier 1 was where they wanted to head, as a Yule's up into silence, just missing from Jesse. Storm Spirit gets himself out of there, as Misery's initiation a little bit off, now TPing top, aiming for Tidehunter. Toby with Celery, they're both up here, but it looks like a Lotus Orb and some swift TPs away. The Fear is going to help him out a little bit there, sprinting back, but in towards Zibe. The waiting arms of Slardar gathering up the tide. Storm aiming for backlines. Vortex there onto the Weaver now as the Exorcism is popped. Do Viking want to fight this? Because they've got some big ultis ready to pop as Aramis. He's popped the Supernova with a BKB. There's the Troll. Focus the egg down. Zibe can turn tail and really focus in with the Bedlam there. They've taken down Shad. Now Celery's left open. 3 in a row as 5 men. They isolate targets and they perfectly execute, going deeper, diving the tier 1, aiming for Tide. Can they blink forward and crush? They can. Zibe finds the opening he needs. Bashes him for good measure. And Misery.
So much to kill this guy.
Continuing this initiation, Storm Spirit's going to say, thank you very much, Weaver. A freebie. Give me that kill. Juicy gold in my bank account.
What they need to do right now is just completely ignore the Tidehunter. He's way too tanky. With the Lotus Orb, can dispel all the things thrown at him. So just deal with the rest. There's still Aegis up and running for a minute. Farm those BKBs. Slardar. Not that close, but that Prophet just a recipe away. You know what always bothered me with the Dota talents? Like, if you click on the Lifestealer, He's level 15 talents. What should I get? Do I get plus 25 damage, which costs 1600 gold, or do I get 20 movement speed that costs 200 gold?
Yeah, difficult choice, isn't it? There are some really odd, very kind of imbalanced, lopsided talent trees. Back into the jungle we go. Ace with Basher. Aegis is going to be reclaimed in 10 seconds. Ravage down for a minute. Supernova comes back up in 10 seconds. Might be an opening for 5 men. Like you've been saying, just to exploit these long cooldown abilities.
Okay, Weaver says, I do not want to die. I'm building Eon Disc. If I can't die, then I can save my teammates. I'd still prefer if he gets something like a Blink Dagger. Storm Spirit has... Okay, he has Orchid. That's why he decided to go for Eon Disc. Makes sense. He showed Orchid on the mid lane. So yeah. No other way of dispelling things.
Misery now needs that Yule Scepter as fast as possible. Goes with the Bramble Maze and the Bedlam in onto the Enchantress. The silence there. Orchid and Lifestealer Bomb. Finds the Weaver. Pilot Eye's gone. 5 men looking
Misery's
to regroup. They're struggling to find an opening. And 5 men have just got to run. They can't stick around here now that they've got Supernova and Ravage back up. Viking are desperate to fight, scrambling forward, getting the ball lightning zip in, and Ace in trouble. Battle Trance, BKB both ready, turning to battle, but Lifestealer, Spirit siphoned up, and the tide is being focused. The BKBs are wearing off though, as 5 men separate and spread their different ways. Chessie's still chasing Toby. Finally killing the Tidehunter off. Now, do they have a stun? The Vortex, the Yules, that's what comes. Death Prophet sent Skywards with a Cyclone, and Chessie. Was that really worth it?
I thought they're gonna fully commit. Use Ravage on that troll before he can get the BKB off. I still think they would have enough damage to actually bring him down. Because there was no counterplay. Dark Willow was dead, no Terrorize. Weaver was also dead, that means no time lapse. They need to be very careful about positioning. This Orchid from Storm Spirit is doing so much right now. The only time Boom died, like, was in the laning stage.
Yeah, he's 10-1 and 2, having a cracking game. Bloodstone coming up shortly as well. He's scaling tremendously on the Storm Spirit. As bottom, we see just a quick little Terrorize. Shad has already raged away. And there we see, you know, you were talking about the Weaver, whether or not he goes Blink or that Eon Disc, which he does have queued. Positioning of Pilot Die really is very important as they Lifestealer Bomb Ace. He does get off his Battle Trance and his BKB, focusing Lifestealer. Storm's pretty low, no mana remaining. Misery giving chase onto him with a Cursed Crown, and now the Bedlam with that Shadow Realm, like trying to pop him out. And this time it's Viking's turn to overextend. Ace will fall finally to the Fiery Spirits and the Impetus shots. Zippy in a little bit of trouble himself, has one more crush. He's going to get a stun onto one, but Slardar is also done for. No DP in that fight, as we're seeing a lot of these kind of 3v5s.
Yeah, these are some messy fights. We don't see 5 versus 5 engagements. A lot of mistakes. I think 5 men, they need to farm their BKBs. On Slaughter, he died so many times because he does not have a tool to defend himself. That Prophet has a BKB right now. And, I mean, they can still kill Tidehunter if DP stays on top of him, if he's isolated with the Exorcism. Other than that, I feel like you just completely ignore him. Also, I see Troll Warlord has Silver Edge queued up at one point, just wants to be able to deal with him.
That's going to be pretty handy to get him in and out of these fights as well. Maybe he can scout out the Storm as he's farming. Things calm down a little bit now. Roshan will respawn in 15 seconds. Every ultimate will be available. That's where the next big fight is going to be brewing. Oh, the Satyr's killing the courier. Misery!
Has been killed.
And scouts out Roshan respawning. Perfect timing.
This is a place where you hide your courier. Like Thompson, I saw it yesterday where he uses Sunstrike inside the pit to get rid of the courier. But, you know, Thompson just doing Thompson things.
Thompson's a smart man. And Dire do have a scan right now. Would love to see them use it on the pit. Smoke from Viking, and it looks like a smoke from 5men is coming too. Pylai pretty far away. He's going to have to TP to outpost, and there's the Dire scan. It sees them for a second, but with the green light now showing that Viking are no longer in the pit, and they're looking for this ball lightning initiation. Oh, the blink crush! Zippy's in! 3-man hit! Silence and the Bramble Maze. Sunray cancelled out as the Exorcism giving chase. They're trying to focus Storm and the Tide. They're going multiple targets. Tangents abound here as the BKB from the Ghost Lady comes, and Celery, the first casualty of war. Chessie still going forward.
There's
Storm
the buyback.
looks pretty okay. Essence Ring and plenty of mana allows him to zip away.
Use 2 BKBs and Dead Prophet ulti, and DP ulti is about to expire, so yeah, this should be an easy Roche for Viking.
Straight in they go. And what's
You
the
can't
plan for
contest.
5men?
Zibek can't really just jump inside the Roche pit without a BKB. 20 seconds, let's see, Terrorize, also on cooldown for 45.
They want to give it a try. One shot is all they've got, though, as Roshan is about to drop. It's gone, and Aegis claimed by Shad. 5 men retreat back up the ramps onto their high ground. Bounty runes to be collected off to the right-hand side of the map. A very close game in all the metrics, really. Gold, experience, kills, everything pretty much dead even. But it feels most certainly the Viking for the past 10 minutes or so have been the ones dictating the pace of play. All off the back of this Toby Tidehunter, which for me was a little bit of an unusual pick, but it's worked out really well for them.
Yeah, they needed something to defend the egg, some more AoE teamfight control, and this is Tidehunter. So they're gonna go finish the tier 2 tower on the top lane. I don't think 5 men can get a trade. What Viking can do is just try to force, like continue on the top lane. You have AC, you have Orb of Destruction on the Lifestealer. Boom. Now they're making a play. Infest Bomb.
Oh, the TPs are coming. Cancel that TP out from the Slardar, and Zippy's down. Shad, he wants Ace now. Open wounds to slow the Troll. Gets a bash there, but he'll dodge the Swarm as Boom zips in. Yules into the air, and there comes the Cavalry. They are riding into battle with everything they've got. Aggressively moving, but the time-lapse in the BKB allows Ace to turn and fight. The bash and the nets. Boom, he's already fine. Cheese and Essence Ring will keep him just as fine and dandy as the Supernova's coming, and Ace, yeah, he's being left alone. Boom will get out of there. The Troll closing in on that kill, but it wasn't quite enough. And the Storm Spirit zip-zapping, looking for more, but he's too low on HP and mana to go committing for that.
Weaver had that Aghanim Scepter for like 6-7 minutes already, and this was the first time-lapse that she used on one of her teammates. Also, Terrorizers, they're not connecting. Misery tried to use a couple of times blindly to go on a Lifestealer. It's a good move, but it's also a very long cooldown. It's 1.5 minutes.
And it takes a long wind-up to cast as well. Signals to Shad that he can just rage and run. And look at Toby. Very ballsy up onto the high ground, breaching the tier 3. And with Assault Cuirass, Armlet, Shad shredding through the tower. The first lane is going to be dropping here, as it seems like 5 men without their Troll can't really face off against this Viking lineup. Curse Crown into an Aegis Lifestealer. He's going to Armlet toggle, he's going to rage. And sprints forward and aggressively moves in towards Misery, but there's the Infest. And then the run away.
Pretty clean execution for Viking. They go in, they don't lose anything. Aegis still up and running for 2 minutes. They used the cheese in the previous fight on the Storm Spirit to keep them alive. And now it's a 6k gold lead for them.
And now a little bit of desperation into 5 men's ranks as well. Smoking out of their base. They need to clear out this wave. Weaver's going to try and do that with a touch of Shikuchi. And both teams, they feel it coming.
Ravage is on cooldown now, but if they initiate into a team fight, Ravage will be ready.
20 seconds. And they've got the tendrils to come back up. Pylai is skitting around looking for anybody, but very defensive positioning here from Viking, back in their base basically. Tide, the only one that's going to be showing, moves out on his own, very forward from Toby. And the rest of them smoked in behind him, trying to set the trap, bait the Tide. Jesse goes with a Spirit Siphon. But Viking are ready for this. They ball lightning into the back and they find the Weaver. No time lapse, no nothing. Get out of this one, buddy. Pilot Eye shredded by Boom and Shad. The life stealer goes to work on that. Poor Slardar. Abyssal Blade stunned him up and in the back. Phoenix dives away, gets off a great egg, and Ace, again, he's just left alone. Jesse's moved forward to try and help his buddy. The Troll goes wild onto Toby. They might get the Tide here, but at what cost as they've lost everybody else? Storm Spirit is just zipping everywhere, finding the pickoff onto Misery, but the burning damage, Sunray keeping him alive through the Ghost. Jesse's so close, he gets the silence, the stun's there, and he's killed them off through the TP. But Troll is down, and the damage is lacking now as 5 men have to deal with a Lifestealer.
Bash.
Luckily, they don't have the bash.
Oh, Abyssal Blade, he was very close to using it. If Troll is dead, they cannot fight Lifestealer, but it also shows that they can kill Storm Spirit, they can kill the Tide Hunter, they're showing signs of life. I'm still afraid for Weaver every single time, like, she's gonna get jumped. And they had the better vision. They had one Observer Ward in front of the Roche Pit, which actually gave them vision to get a first good jump on Weaver, and this is exactly the target that they need to kill.
Immediately, you just see Boom going straight for the Weaver. As Pilot die, he's just been dusted, abyssal, and killed. Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to set up there for a Slardar Blink stun, but he didn't last long enough to really spring the trap properly. And we're seeing a couple of Eon Discs now coming up for 5 men. Dark Willow and Weaver both aiming for that save item for themselves.
Slardar's item progression is non-existent. Like, he had a good laning stage, just sitting at the Blink Dagger and a BKB at the moment. Also, I'm not liking his talent choices, like Health Regen, HP. Like, getting Bash and the 20 damage talent is much, much better.
Yeah, it feels like it's a telling story here that he feels the need to go tanky rather than deal damage. Trying to roleplay as the Tide Hunter. But Toby doing a much better job with Solar, Lotus, Casual Cloak now into a BKB. This Tide Hunter's going to go from unkillable to demigod status in a second.
Does he really need a BKB? What is he afraid of?
I don't know,
against
honestly.
the Basher, against Slardar ulti, Death Prophet, like, BKB is not going to really help him out.
I guess Spirit Siphon is...
Getting something like a Ghost Scepter could have been much better. They're really lacking magical damage on 5 men.
And we'll see if it makes a difference. As Toby is pretty much committed for it. Maybe he'll go back for Deso or something fun like that.
Big fan.
Or a Basher himself. Well, bottom lane needs to be dealt with. Viking facing off against double catapults down there.
Are scanning.
Seems like they're not too worried about losing a tier 2 down south. Everyone converging into that dire jungle, waiting for 5 men to make a move out of their base. They've got them all hemmed in.
They found
Just
Spell
waiting for that first move.
Tide Hunter is the one who's holding it.
Oh, yes. Good blink from Chessie. Yule's up from Boom, though. Stops the retreat. Nice Bramble Maze. And the silence. Forcing the Yules and the Lotus Orb to come. Boom, still going to get crushed, stunned. The Ravage is there. And Troll Warlord doesn't get a single spell off. Terrorize has landed, but this is Viking running home with a victory. The buyback from Troll comes now as Ace wants to get back into the battlefield. And now they focus on Chessie, the isolated Death Prophet dead, and might have to buy back herself as the Yules on the Slardar will secure the demise of him as well. And Viking, with a 13k lead now, really just hammering this one home.
Let's see, the Roche will respawn in a minute and 20 seconds. Like, Death Prophet has buyback, but there is no exorcism, so I think you just might save it.
Chessie says, nah, I want to fight.
Okay,
Let's go,
everyone's buying
Slardar.
back. This is it. They're keeping the timer on a Roche, but they need to make something happen out of this. 1 minute until Roche spawns, 70 seconds until Ravage is back online. So they will have another Ravage for the Roche fight.
Oh, they sure will. And an Arcane Rune for Storm Bottom as well. Very fortunate pickup. And now the item progression you were talking about, Slardar, that's halted completely. Troll Warlord's going to be limited as well. Shadowblade is done, but Silver Edge is miles away. And DP really hasn't seen any progression either after picking up a casual plate mail towards the Shiver's Guard. And on the flip side, you've got Lifestealer who just picked up an MKB. Just, yeah,
a casual, yeah. And he's also going for BKB, getting closer to level 25 with the leveler. This one's really tough for 5 men. They used 3 buybacks on 3 cores in the previous fight.
Yeah, they've got Dark Willow buyback. Weaver is 60 gold away from his. So the 2 supports at least should be able to return. And like you called, Ravage is back up now with a BKB on Toby. Very, very, very difficult proposition here for 5 men to make an initiation. It's not even them that starts the fight. It's Viking. Thankfully, the time lapse on the BKB allows Zibe at least a few seconds of life. Good silence, stunning up into the storm. The Lotus Orb, though, allows him to ball lightning away. Holding Ravage, making sure that they get the combo of that with Supernova. As these Yules and Lotus Orbs really are proving to be very difficult to break past. 5 men can't stick on a target. There's so much disengage through the itemization that Viking have chosen to go for.
And Troll has no kind of lifesteal at the moment, so he can go back to full HP, sitting at the 65% HP. They're straight into Roche Pit. They even have Ogre, Vampire, Mage to provide them with the ice armor.
In comes Chessie. Very aggressive blink forward. Pops the Ghost as well, trying to get on top of Toby. There's BKB and Ravage here, though, for him. Bramble Maze into the pit. Roshan's low, but the ball lightning into the back. The Weaver's been found. Trying to pick her off, but it looks like Twilight Eye is fine for now. So holding the time lapse for that re-engage as the Supernova inside the pit makes it very awkward for 5 men to fight. They've picked off Zibe. The Slardar's down, and the DP doesn't really have much left in the tank. Viking controlling the pit beautifully as the high ground hold. Yes, 5 men are in the Radiant Triangle, and they've got a good strategic position here. But what spells do they have left to actually use?
A lot of mind games happening. Tidehunter just, you know, toying with them. They know that if he has Ravage, there's the BKB ready to pop it.
Ace has to use it. And Toby uses his too. Pilot Eye is just bashed up and cleared out. 5 men losing a couple of heroes. I think they'll be thankful they didn't get completely wiped, but this all means that Roshan now belongs to Viking.
Well, if you don't contest Roche, that means you have 1 extra fight. Would you look at that, Gary? We talked about how there's a refresher shard every single time on a 3rd Roche, but this time we're gonna be blessed by Aghanims.
And which player is blessed?
Storm Spirit, of course. AoE, they even have a better tool to defend the egg and the better setup for Tidehunter's Ravage.
The black hole from Storm Spirit's coming. And then they can just, you know, hold on to Ravage forever. Toby never needs to, doesn't need to press the button. And very casually, just walking high ground, knowing that with a couple of heroes dead, 5 men don't have the answer to him.
Silver Edge on Troll. Let's see if they can actually burst him. BKB ready in a second. Silver Edge running out.
Oh,
he got the
so
hit. He got the break.
They got the bash as well. BKB Ravage, though, stops the Troll with the Yule Scepter and cyclones him up. Now the Cyclone from Storm Spirit keeps him safe with an Illusion Rune to pop as well. Troll just backs away while Slardar's BKB now wears off, and he's behind tier 4s. You've got to wait for the Dark Willow a minute until she respawns. No buyback for Misery. Looks like she's brought up a full Vlad's. And tier 4's crumbling. What is the answer from 5 men?
There's the DP
Jump
ulti.
from
They are in. Do or
Chessie
die.
BKBs, but there's no Blink Crush. Zibe doesn't get his initiation well enough, and a time lapse back keeps Troll alive. But they're struggling to stick on targets. Now the bashes, the control in, but the Yule Scepters just perpetually sending the Troll skywards, and GG's call. That's the answer. All of the problems that Viking brought to the table. And Misery, all they can muster is a shift GG end. And enter to end this one out. 33-17, a 33k net worth lead